All right, I'm gonna wait 1 second, a few seconds here, and make sure we are actually live on air. Ensure that everything is coming through properly and adequately, and everything can be seen. And everything. It looks like we do have an excellent connection right now. Let's go here and make sure we are live. Alright, we are live and we got audio, and you can see everything that is on my screen. I'm going to go close my door and we're going to get right into the stream. I had some issues with the whole entire OBS thing, and so I gotta fix some things in the background, and I gotta work on some things, folks. But we got quite a things to talk about with Tropical Storm Erick here. The audio is good here. Alright, so looking at here, we go to the current storms here with Tropical Storm Erick. There it is, 45 knots. That was the latest satellite imagery I was showing y'all. Here's the latest forecast coming from the National Hurricane Center. Advisory number 5, with those maximum sustained winds being at 50 miles per hour, movement northwest at 7. I'm actually going to get my pen out so I can do some draws on here to make it easier for people to see. So again, this is the radius of maximum wind. This right here is the roughly where it's going to be. Again, we talked about this. One of the mistakes that people make is focusing on that skinny black line. Don't worry about that skinny black line. What you need to be worried about is the effects. Alright? That skinny black line clearly goes beyond just the point. All of this may not all be in the cone of uncertainty, but this region is going to be affected. So what you really need to look at is not just the size of the storm, but also where the watches and warnings extend into. So if we go to the cone here, and we look at the experimental cone, and we zoom in here, and we put on, we'll go 3 days out here, and we take a look at this, where the cone is at, we know that it's going to be beyond just the cone, and it's also going to be much more beyond the line, and that's going to be a little bit easier to see when we take a look at the rainfall, which has gone up, as we can see here. Again, we were looking at only about 12 to 16 inches of rain. Now, right along the immediate coastline here, right where the storm could come right on in, and where there could be lots of heavy rain, as well as flooding with this system. We could even see up to 16 to 20 inches, 400 to 500 millimeters of rain is possible in that area. Now that doesn't even include the storm surge that we could see on top of the heavy rain. We could also see some pretty intense storm surge as well, which we'll get into today as well. So we're going to go over the latest hurricane models and talk a little bit about what we're going to see with the storm. So again, here we have the hurricane model, H-Wharf model, does bring this a pretty intense system. We have an eye. Does it appear that this eye does begin to clear out upon landfall? It does look like as the northern eye wall begins to move over land, it does look like the storm does begin to actually weaken a little bit before landfall. About 960 millibars is the strongest. It does look like really just landfall at 980 millibars probably. That eye wall does begin to weaken quite a bit, but we'll have to really watch this system and see how the eye wall interacts with the mountains and with the terrain before the eye actually crosses over into overland before they call it landfall. So we could certainly see some weakening with this storm before landfall, which would be very good. Here it is, 98 knots. We do see it topping off at 105 knots, which is a little bit better. There it looks like landfall at 50 knots, about 60 miles an hour. So we do want to take a look at as many of these models as we can, get an idea how strong is the storm going to be, What are we looking at here with the storm? We could be seeing up to 110 miles per hour upon landfall, according to the National Hurricane Center. This storm being pretty aggressive, 949 millibars, 120 knots. I believe that is 140 miles an hour. And again, it does appear that this storm does significantly weaken there before landfall, down to under 100 knots before landfall at 960 millibars. And then just completely falls apart. If we go to the current hours, it looks like it's at 38 knots. We're at about 45 knots, 50 knots, 60 knots. And then there's a hurricane there in about 20 to 24 hours out from now. So again, when we take a look at where the strongest of the winds are going to be, here the strongest of the winds, it does look like, it does look like it might be farther off to the west. They were showing closer over here towards the bend over Mexico. Now this is farther off to the west, where the land is a little bit different, but we could still see some of the strongest winds pushing and piling some of that water onto land there, where we could see some flooding. This is a very compact system, as y'all can tell, and so what we're dealing with is, because it's compact, it is very influenced by the atmosphere. So it can grow and it can weaken. It can intensify very fast, and it can also weaken very quickly as well. Again, here's the latest satellite imagery 3 minutes ago. Actually, some lightning starting to pop up, some pretty cold cloud tops, so quite a bit of convection with this storm here. Right near the center here, negative 70, almost negative 80 degrees Celsius. Definitely in the outer bands, we do have some pretty strong thunderstorms. So again, here's the storm. We are having some lightning popping up in the storm because of how robust this convection is. Something we are watching, something we are definitely going to be monitoring with this tropical storm. Not too much with the radar, as there does not appear to be a lot of... I'll just put this right here. Really does not appear to be really any radar sites in this region of Mexico. So when this does make landfall, there's a chance that we won't see the landfall from radar, but we will see it from a satellite perspective for sure. Do you want to take a look at the wind, look at some of these models here, and get an idea of just how strong the storm could really be upon landfall. I think we're looking at altitude is too high. No, this is the surface. That's so weird. Shows nothing at the surface. That's why. That's way ahead of time. I'm like, what's going on here? There's Tuesday. We got Wednesday there. Even here it shows really not even tropical storm intensity. Yeah, it looks like the GFS is lagging behind quite a bit. These are surface. These are winds at the surface. Maybe we should see 10 meter, because that is technically where they do measure the winds. No, you don't have. See, the surface are 100 meters. It does intensify as it approaches. Again, we're looking Thursday afternoon, Thursday morning to Thursday afternoon, where we could see the storm make landfall. But again, this is showing low in tropical storm, and we're already seeing this thing really beginning to ramp up. The European model has it a little bit more aggressive, but nothing super crazy. Again, 50 knots at 60 miles an hour. Nothing super crazy either. Same thing with the Icon model. Nothing super crazy with this storm either. If we take a look at gusts, that would be different for sure. That would probably be more closer to what we could see with the actual winds would probably be more like gusts. Yeah, that looks more like it. That looks more like of what we could see with wind speed, where we could see winds closer to 70 to 80 knots with actual wind speed, not those being wind gusts. Windy has always been a little bit off with the winds. I'm going to go back to the National Hurricane Center and talk a little bit about what we have with this system here. This is the latest advisory. Again, as of 3 p.m., maximum sustained winds remain at 50 miles an hour. Erick is forecast to bring hurricane conditions to portions of southern Mexico Wednesday night and Thursday. Life-threatening flash flooding is likely. Currently located at 12.9 degrees north, 94.4 degrees west, at around 385 kilometers southeast Puerto Angel, Mexico. It's not moving very fast, moving northwest at 310 degrees at 7 miles an hour, 11 kilometers an hour. Air pressure is continuing to drop. It was 1,005 millibars. The 10 a.m. advisory is now down to 10:01, which does show that this storm is in fact intensifying. My best guess at the 10 p.m. advisory, the air pressure will drop even more. I'll also expect that wind speed could increase to up to 60 miles an hour or possibly more. We'll see. I don't think they have, if there's a hurricane, yep, we do have hurricane aircraft reconnaissance into Erick. This was finished, so we are getting some aircraft reconnaissance, but we're getting absolutely no information. All right. All right, we're going to do this. We're going to go to weather, cyclone weather here. As it is, take a look here at Tropical Storm Erick. These are the latest winds, satellite imagery, radar imagery, wind radii beginning to increase. This is the microwave imagery. This is the sea surface temperatures that it's moving into. Sea surface temperatures continue to increase as the storm moves in that general direction. Again, certainly does look like we could be seeing this storm becoming a hurricane, pretty close to a Category 2. Some models bringing it into Category 3, but we're going to have to closely watch to see how quickly this tropical storm reaches that hurricane intensity. GEFS not even showing it reaching hurricane intensity, and then I think the EPS only reaching mild Category 1 intensity, but shows it actually weakening, so I don't think this is going to be accurate at all. We do expect rapid intensification to occur. So this is the direction it's going to be going. Winds in knots now showing possibly as high as these are divergence, OHC, and speed. We do expect the winds to possibly reach as high as 80 to 90 knots as possible. Heat content going up, and also with the wind shear not being very high at all either. So again, we do expect this storm, based on everything that we're seeing, the shear to stabilize less than 20 knots. The relative humidity to remain pretty high, above 80%, and those sea surface temperatures to remain pretty high as well, about 30 degrees Celsius. We got those winds, we got pressure. We do expect pressure to drop pretty significantly as well with this storm. Here it is. The forecast tracks and winds. Again, we do some of those bringing 96 knots, although others keeping it rather weak. We'll have to see. Does it take? Let me get my pin back out here. If it takes more, so this is just, we'll just say this is the mean, something like this. We'll just guess something like that, right? If it takes a farther track towards the right, it would interact with land earlier and wouldn't be able to intensify as much or as quickly, which would be something that we would like to see. It would have less time over water, about 36 hours. But if it takes a farther southern track, it would have all this time over. It would have a lot more time over land or over water and less time over land. Something like this. So that would be 48, 50 plus hours. 50 plus hours out until it would make landfall versus like maybe 36, 40 hours until it makes landfall with the track farther to the north. Does anyone have any comments, questions, or concerns? I do apologize for yawning, folks. I just got home from work, and then I came here and I went right into it. So there's a lot going on with this storm. We're looking at the forecast. We're looking at models. I mean, there's just a lot going on with this storm. Can we do? Oh, yeah, we can. Okay, perfect. So again, look at that. Again, we do expect we do see something like that. We could see an eye develop, and definitely lots of moisture. Not a whole lot of wind shear with this. Mainly in the upper levels, the outflow. We do have some shear, but that's the outflow levels. That's the upper levels. Again, there it goes. It makes landfall and quickly dissipates. And then this is the latest forecast from the European model. Again, 995 millibars. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be accurate at all. Let's go back to current time. We go to hour 6. It says 1005 millibars. We're actually down to already 1001 millibars. But look at that. Even 24 hours out from now, the current air pressure is lower. There we go. 1001 millibars. Current air pressure now showing 30 hours out. So it certainly seems to be quite off in terms of where the pressure needs to be, for sure. Here's the latest satellite imagery of the tropical storm. We might have a little bit of dry air intruding through here, but as the storm expands and grows, it should cut off, like right here. It looks like it might be cutting off that flow of dry air, or if any dry air is left in here, it'll be choked out. The dry air will be choked out by the moisture, essentially. That's what it looks like to me. A little bit of dry air, but again, we do have some convection down here for sure. There is what I was talking about right here. The stream of some dry air moving in through here. But as the storm here and expands outward, and this expands outward as well over here, it should choke out any area of dry air out completely. Does anyone have any other comments, questions, or concerns regarding Tropical Storm Erick? This might actually be where we're having some of the colder air temperatures. I'm curious. I'm going to actually go back to satellite here and go to infrared. That might actually be a convective burst of where we're seeing some of the colder air temperatures right here. I am curious about that. Oh yeah, 82 is what I found in there. 82 degrees Celsius. So that is a very high, pretty big convective burst there. As that shows definitely we could see a direction towards more intensification. They're just updated. Let's see where we're at now. 80. So about negative 80 degrees Celsius. There might be some colder air cloud tops over here, but negative 80 is already really cold. Here's some more really cold cloud tops over here as well. Negative 70, almost negative 80 up here. Possibly almost negative 75 there. So we're closely watching and monitoring the development of the storm. We're going to be monitoring this today. I will continue to give updates. There's just so much freaking... What? I'm going to try that again. I want to look at some of the models. Okay, that's not working. Back to cyclone weather. Okay. We'll take a look at reconnaissance. Okay, there we do. We do have some reconnaissance going out to Erick. Here it is. Actually, look at the mission. Oh, that's cool. So it looks to be going the wrong direction. Do a refresh here and see if we get an update. Nothing, just completely blank. So weird. Still want to keep looking at these current storms. Let's see, do we have another? That's better. This was the at 18, almost 1900 UTC. So that was earlier this afternoon. As you can see here. Okay, talk about this and break it down for the folks here. This is where the center circulation is, right here. We'll just put it black L here. This is outflow right here. And then we'll probably get a stream of outflow here is the next one that I would guess. This might actually be developing right here. And then that's the storm. It doesn't look too good. This kind of looks deeper into the storm and overall structure. Because it is still developing and organizing, so it doesn't look the best. Tropical cyclone heat potential, and then these are the surface anomalies of the sea surface temperatures. This is the profile of the storm and the TCHP of 26 degrees centigrade, isotherm about 79, 80 degrees Fahrenheit. The average tropical cyclone heat potential is 57,000 joules per square centimeter on the surface. But that does seem to go down to warm water goes down to a depth of about 40 meters. So we do have water that does go down pretty far deep in this one particular area of the storm. So the water temperatures are relatively warm. Now it is still pretty early in the season. It is only June. It's not September or August or even October where we get some of the more violent hurricanes in the East Pacific, like we did Hurricane Patricia, and I think Hurricane was Otis in October. We'll see those sea surface temperatures warm with heat down to a much lower depth. This gives us an idea of water vapor. Again, there is a little bit of dry air, but that does appear to be getting choked out. We are seeing some pretty cold temperatures in the storm here at about negative 85 degrees Celsius. That's either this pocket here. I think it might be this pocket here. those temperatures are getting pretty cold as the storm begins to ramp up its intensification phase. Does anyone have any comments, questions, or concerns? I don't want this stream to be super duper long, but I do overall want to have a an update on this tropical system. Latest showing still intensity at landfall 95 knots, about 110 miles per hour. Here are the key messages for Tropical Storm Erick. Erick is expected to rapidly intensify. Again, RI, we have talked about this. This is one of the more dangerous, I almost said side effects. One of the most dangerous things that can happen with hurricanes is rapid intensification. We saw that with Hurricane Otis and Hurricane Patricia. Erick is expected to rapidly intensify before reaching the coast of southern Mexico on Thursday, and a hurricane warning is in effect. For portions of the coast of, I think it's Oaxaca, a hurricane watch is in effect for portions of the Guerrero coast, and Tropical Storm Erick will produce heavy rainfall across portions of Central America and Southwest Mexico this week. Life-threatening flooding and mudslides are possible, especially in areas of steep terrain. A dangerous storm surge is expected to produce coastal flooding near and to the east of where the center crosses the coast in areas of onshore winds. I don't want to keep this stream going too long. I want to give you the update. I want to let y'all know what we're looking for, what we're watching for, and this is what we are closely monitoring. We will also give updates we'll be posting on YouTube, Twitter, Blue Sky as well, on aircraft reconnaissance updates as well. But that is really the majority of the update. Nothing has really changed since the 10 a.m. advisory this morning. Recon data, not much has changed with this recon data. Again, it looks like to be heading. It looks like it's the ticking off from. I don't think this does not appear to be the right. Yeah, this is the training mission. No wonder I was confused. Erick is what I'm looking for. There we go. There's the one for Erick. Not much of an update with this right now. We will make some posts onto YouTube today, Twitter, as well as Blue Sky. Alright guys, that's going to be for today, guys. Quick stream. Nothing too crazy. I'm going to be doing some work today and trying to fix the OBS and figuring out the reasoning why this is all messed up. But thank you guys for watching. We will continue to give you all latest updates and more forecast updates on Tropical Storm Erick as it continues to intensify. That's going to be it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe. Peace out. This has been the Hurricane